Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we are going to be styling our HTML that we created for our app. So I'm inside my text editor and this is the CSS file. So this is where we're going to define the styling for our app. So we're going to use the IDs where we've got IDs to use. If not, we'll use the actual element to style the HTML. I have added some basic styling here for the body of the actual HTML. So this style would be applied to the body. When you're styling, you need to have a selector. In this case, the body is a selector. And then in between the curly braces, this one and this one here, you specify the properties and the value you want to apply to the selector. So in this case, I have got several properties here. The text align is a property and I want the text to be centered. Got another property here called background color and I've given it a hex value background color. You don't have to use hex value. For example, if you know the actual color name, you could specify that in place of the hex value. Here again, the color I specify white. This color here refers to the color of the text you use for the body, not the actual background. Okay, if you want a background color, you need to specify background color. Font family refers to the font, the type of font that you can use. It's always good to specify more than one, so I'll just add Arial just in case the first font is not available on the machine that is viewing this page, so it can default to the other one. So what I'm saying here, this is my first choice. If that font is not available, default to that. So most computers should have either both or either. I have added a chunk more of styling from line 8 here to line 18. Notice here I've used the ID attribute. This ID here is derived from this ID inside here. We've got an ID here called add. That's the ID I am referring to here. All right, so that's the target. And these are the properties and these are the values. So you separate the property from the value with a colon. Okay, so again, this is the ID I'm styling. The background color, I've given it red. Border set to 0. I don't want no border. Color is white, which is a color of it's referring to color of the text. Padding, okay, padding is a space inside the element, while margin is a space outside it. So these are the values that specify for the padding. Cursor, the cursor property basically specifies the type of cursor to be displayed when pointing on an element. That's what that is. So I've just said pointer. Margin again refers to the space outside. So what I'm saying here from the top, I want there to be a space 35 pixels from the top. That's what that means. I have added some more styling from line 19 to 25, and this time I am styling a class. So if you got a dot followed by a name, that is a class. So I'm styling a class. This class will be added automatically with our JavaScript, but I'm just preparing the styling for that beforehand. So again, the class here is the selector. We've got the property margin. I'm saying from the top, I want it to drop 13 pixels. Background color, I've set that to X color, X value. Float, float basically, if you've got, it means I want the element to move to the right. Okay. Where you have elements moving to the right, you need to also specify a clear. So when you use float, you need to use clear. Clear basically is used to clear any obstruction on either side. And then the background color. So we've got padding. Padding refers to the space inside. So I'm saying the space inside from the right, I want it to move 20 pixels. Border radius is what gives it a rounded corner. So if you've got a square, the border radius kind of like makes it round a bit. So that's what the border radius property does. Alright, I've added a couple more properties to this class here, giving it a width of 60 pixels and a height of 20 pixels. Border style, I've set it to none so that there are no shadows or nothing on the borders. I've added some more styling to this ID called wrapper, which if we go into our HTML here, we'll see that we've got an ID here called wrapper, which is the main div. That's the one I'm targeting here. And these are the styling I've applied to that ID. Again, the width, I've set a width of 450 pixels, a background color, I've given it a hex value. The margin, I've set it margin from the top. I've said I want it to drop 120 pixels. Margin from the left, I want it to move to 295 pixels. Padding from the bottom, remember padding is the space inside the element, while margin is a space outside the element. So padding from the bottom 30 pixels, padding left 50 pixels, padding top 30, right 65, border radius 25 pixels. By all means, play around with these values. You don't necessarily have to stick to my values. Just play around and experiment and see what works for you. I have added a chunk more of styling from line 43 to 57. So I'll explain 43 to 48 first. That is the UL, which is the unordered list, which I will insert using JavaScript. Basically, these are the styling. The list style, I don't want it to have any styling on the list. And I've set the text align to left. Line height is the space between each text. Okay, and then on line 49, the ID called task. So that's where we'll actually input the task we want to carry out. So the task ID here on line 49, giving it a width of 320 pixels, a height of 30 pixels, the margin from the left, I've told it to move 17 pixels. And line 54 is the H1 tag, which I've given a margin from the top. I've said I want it to move 30 pixels from the top. That's what that means. Okay. So that's all our styling done. I'll just save that and we can try and view our app and see what it looks like. Alright, so this is what the app looks like before the styling. So I'll just refresh and this is what it looks like now after the styling. So it looks much nicer, more presentable with the styling. So that's it for the styling for this project. In the next lecture, we'll be doing the actual JavaScript, writing JavaScript code that will make all this work. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.